today we're joined by Professor Carlos Moreno, the visionary behind the 15-minute city concept. Professor, thank you so much for joining us today. Could you explain to our viewers what is the 15-minute city concept?
The 15-minute city concept. We wanted to improve the quality of life for inhabitants in a city or in a territory. This concept wants us to offer very large access to the essential services based on a proximity for each one of inhabitants. We need to change our traditional lifestyle based on long distances, long commute, the use of an individual car, and the 15-minute city concept proposes a proximity every time, everywhere, in all city. Polycentric city. What is a polycentric city? This is a city with a lot of different and vibrant neighborhoods, with the possibility for creating different proximities. Proximity, in fact, is a lot of different ways for having a humanistic city attitude, for avoiding to continue to be a modern center, an isolated, half human, half car that live in an illusory digital social network. For finishing, the 15-minute city concept is based on 6 pillars for my daily life. To access within a short perimeter in a decarbonized mobility, on foot or by bike or by public transportation, for living in the good conditions, for working with the mixed presential and digital work style, for accessing to the care, to the medical services, to my well-being, to access to education and culture in proximity, and to enjoy in permanence in public spaces.
What are some of the concrete actions that governments can already take today to kind of build up this 15-minute city?
We need to develop the new concept, to develop the abstract point of view, but at the same time, the interest of this concept is to offer to the local governments, local authorities, the concrete ways for implementing this concept in the short, in the mid, in the long term. For example, in the case of Paris, Anne Hidalgo, the first measure that she has taken for deploying the 15-minute city in Paris was very simple: to open the schoolyards, the schools in Paris, during the weekend for having open access to neighbors. This is very concrete because for the first time in the history of the public schools in France, a mayor has decided to offer inside the school this place as a public space. After that, the mayor of Paris launched a new program for transforming the schools, the street in front of the schools, a new mini park. We have 200 schools in Paris, every 400 meters. Today, the old schools, the street in front of, has become a new mini park with the inside the schoolyard connected. We have developed as well a new business model for the local commerce, because the city of Paris considers that the local commerce is a part of the common good. The city of Paris has created a commercial property for managing different spots in all Paris, for renting each one of spots with a price, with a rent below the price of the speculative real estate market, in order to have bakery, fishery, bookstore, exhibition center, recycle point for second and third life, in order to have the local commerce in our city. Local commerce is important for proximity. The city of Paris has developed as well the concrete medical services in proximity. This is important because during the COVID-19, unfortunately, we have a lot of people without medical services in proximity with the serious consequences in terms of overcrowded hospital, etc. We have today the more green areas, 1,200 kilometers of physically bike lane, just separated of car traffic.
TomTom recently released its traffic index report, which showed that congestion remains a major issue for a lot of cities. So how does the 15-minute city concept address congestion?
The traffic index report is a strategic input for us. With my team, we are totally convinced that it is necessary to understand the evolution of this congestion index. We have today in our cities, globally, three kinds of congestion. The congestion of cars, the congestion by the obesity of cars, and the congestion by the uncontrolled development of cities. And these three kinds of congestion are totally related. The key element for intertwine these three congestion is, in fact, the individual decision for continuing to use a car as a sign of social status. Traffic jams today, this is a global threat for our human health. In particular, in the global south, the index of the air pollution is totally related to the congestion index report. And the systematic impact of the congestion of traffic jams, the air pollution by CO2, and the air pollution by the massive presence of fine particles are today totally intertwined, and we need to be aware that this is one of the most relevant threats for the urban health. It is totally crucial to have this data-driven orientation. In fact, when we have been establishing this special relationship with local authorities, with mayors, president of metropolis, etc., they need to have a very concrete roadmap, more than concept. In the 21st century, one of the most significant points for changing our mindset is the visualization. To have the significant maps, colors, timeline, the temporal changes. TomTom is part of companies that have these tremendous geolocalized databases. And you are our natural allies. On the one hand, for nourishing this research, for offering to the different cities, our partners, this concrete match, and the other hand, to propose the new business model for cities.
Right. And the 15-minute city concept, how do we scale that globally? Obviously, again, different regions, different challenges, but how do you recommend that we would scale this globally, and how local governments can implement this today?
We have a lot of different implementation today around the world, in the different continents. The 15-minute city is a global framework. This is not a magic wand. We need to customize in the different particular contexts. The USA is very particular because you have two different USA. The USA with the big concentrations. You have in Los Angeles more people that live in Los Angeles than in a lot of different states of the USA. This is the case in New York. This is the case in San Francisco. And the different of the middle of the USA, when you have these more individual homes almost isolated lifestyle. In the global south, it's different. In Latin America, in Asia, the question is essentially the informal settlements, the bidonville or the favelas, etc. Because in Latin America, unfortunately, the essential of capitals are created by the uncontrolled rise. However, the 50-minute city in these capitals is very interesting because it's the real possibility for people that live in the informal settlements for demanding more local services, because these people is totally impacted by distances. The average, for example, in Bogota, for people that live in the informal settlements, for accessing to a doctor, to a job, to the cultural services, is more than 19 or 120 minutes. For these people to have more local services, in reality, this is a real advantage. In Asia, this is so different because for a long time in Asia, we have developed the zonification, a big separation. But today, in China, in South Korea, we have a new global movement for having a more compact cities. In China, the 50-minute city, the nickname, is the 15-minute city community circle for developing more human cities. It's very interesting, this change.
But what are some challenges that you feel governments face when they're trying to implement these concrete measures? And perhaps the challenges differ depending on what region you're coming from as well. Perhaps it's different for countries, for different regions. What are the main challenges that you're seeing with governments who are trying to make this a reality?
This is important to understand that the 50-minute city concept, and in general, the X-minute city concept, because this is not a doxa. This is not a copy-paste. 9 decades of cities focused on long distances, zonification, segmentation, gentrification, car-centered cities, polluted. For that, the 50-minute city is a global framework for offering this roadmap, to offer more local services within a short perimeter, to give it a priority to decarbonized mobility, and to generate the new economical business model for relocating jobs, employment, shorter circuits, local raw materials, more social inclusion, more vibrant neighborhoods, more solidarity, and at the same time to decarbonize in face with the global emergency. What is the common point for having a success? The first one, a strong commitment of the local authorities for going ahead, for developing this idea, for radically transforming our lifestyle, for offering the new perspective for the business model. Second point, to generate a local alliance of stakeholders, of the industries, of the local companies, for generating a business model compliant with our challenges in the 21st century. And the third point, to develop an ambitious pedagogical way for changing the mindset of citizen dwellers, because unfortunately we have as well a strong resistance of citizen dwellers for embracing another lifestyle, another work style, another kind of mobility. This triple way, local governance, stakeholders, ecosystem, and citizen dwellers, is totally mandatory for customizing concept. We have today, for example, in Netherlands, in Utrecht, the 10-minute city. We have in Scotland the 20 minutes territory, in Melbourne, in Australia, the 20 minutes neighborhood, in Ottawa, the 15-minute city neighborhood, in Bogota, the vital district. The new nickname, as scientist, is the X-minute city, the X-minute territory, because the number of minutes is really no matter. 15, 10, 20, 25. The question is not to have a battle for the number of minutes. The real question is to develop a polycentric interconnected, green, thrive cities and territory with a lot of different services, with the great accessibility for everyone.
Well, thank you very much for sharing your insights, Professor Carlos Moreno, and have a good day.
Thank you for this kind of invitation, and don't forget, we need more humanistic and livable cities for improving our quality of life. Thank you so much.